Welcome back, everybody, and we've got the second of this evening's games, and two very familiar faces. A-MEI-ZON returning from last week that we got to cover in one of their first rounds of the group stages, and returning champions, Office 365 No Scope, who I think we'll probably just be calling Microsoft from here on in because, as is CEA tradition, their name is ridiculous. Mataclass, we've seen both of these teams play. Here and now, to put you on the spot, who's winning this one?
Old 365 no scope.
Yeah, as easy
Yep.
as that, huh?
As easy as that.
Okay.
There's a very, very simple reason for that, Phil, is because up until like 2 minutes ago, A-MEI-ZON still had to plan playing with the hard Torbjorn bot. So it seems like they're a bit distraught today. And if you just look at the team's organization on the day, if we rate them roughly the same, I'm going with 365 no scope. Not just because of their placement last season, but just because of the way they came into the lobby, I guess.
Yeah, they came in fully prepared with a full team ready to play, not having to fall back on the hard Torbjorn bot. But I will say, if I was going to be given any bot to play with, I would like the hard Torbjorn bot. If you ever watch bot games, it's usually the team with the Torbjorn that wins because the AI are not programmed to step out of the molten core.
No, they're not.
That's my assessment.
Yeah, I mean, all the time, both teams get the Torbjorn anyways, but, even when they don't. This time around, I don't see any Torbjorns picked from the teams just yet, but Phosphor still unselected, so we could see it happen. I want to see this Symmetra do work. We know that Big EZ can do a lot with the Symmetra, even outside of just outside the teleporter. A lot of the time, they'll stick on it, and there's definitely a map to do it on. You don't only have to use it for the teleporter.
It looks like we get going for that and then Brawl on point. A little bit of a different option coming through from A-MEI-ZON. Flexo picking up the road hog roll today. It's all going to be on whether Biggie can get this. Yeah, okay, it's in. Nice placement on the TP. Very quick rotation comes in from A-MEI-ZON, though. And they're in a position to, to get booped over the side because Yomi was a little bit quicker off the mark on that one. She gets the first kill of the match. Flexo out. There's Sean down, and I don't see a comeback from this one. This is going to be a big old resettle-roo here for A-MEI-ZON.
It's a nice setup on the point. It's something we've seen done a fair amount of times. We know how it works. Symmetra TP to the point, set up the turrets, and you're golden. Now they're not even going to fight on the point. I feel very confident here.
Ooh, yeah, push right up. Does mean if they're caught out here, they won't have the Sim TP to escape with beautiful tracking from Senior Cheese there. Sanitizer taken down, Phosphor down as well, and Senior Cheese smells of blood in the water. Lots of damage there onto Sean. Sean out of the fight, Reno down, and you thought that last hold was aggressive. We are surging towards the enemy spawn here from Office 365.
They're really feeling it today. I'm looking forward to seeing how aggressive this hold can get. They like circle around to the counter high ground because you can do that here. You can go up the stairs and then up their spawn stairs and get onto that high ground. Hypno Beam doesn't seem to quite want to go and do that, but that would have been exciting. Sean is a bit split up from the team though. Has to be careful as that McCree, but that might be coming beneficial later with that flashbang. Phosphor not so lucky though.
I think Phosphor actually interrupted in the middle of the cast there of the pulse bomb, secures the kill. Senior Cheese with a beautiful bubble protects the main tank. Hypno Beam's alive in that fight, and a quick turn of the head and Hypno Beam. Sorry, and Senior Cheese finds the kill. Shatter out, 3 on the ground. Phosphor down and out. Same for Flex, so Sean the last to fall. At least we have ults on the board now for A-MEI-ZON, but this has been a very rough start for them.
I haven't gone into a place to even use ultimates. Even if they go through the high ground, how are you ever going to be able to get into a place where the whole hog, the Shatter, even the Valkyrie actually makes sense? The sound barrier maybe, but if Sanitizer goes down like that, that ain't happening.
And now there's no sound barrier! Pulse Bomb's gonna come in and find 2, and it is done, and more than dusted. It is vacuum clean. It is polished to a mirror shine. 98 and counting. Nobody here on the point, and a very quick lockout there.
So A-MEI-ZON came into this season as a new unit, new force from coming out of Amazon, and they've already got their Fire Force. They already got that what we maybe would call like the A team, and this is the A team for Microsoft. So if it's like the A team of Microsoft playing against I wouldn't necessarily say the B team, but potentially the B team for Amazon. And they're not even complete right now. A-MEI-ZON is a player that they kind of pulled out of thin air, out of necessity. So they're not playing with their full 6 roster. They're playing against a very strong and practiced Microsoft team right now. And well, this just shows you how much that changes, how much one player missing or how the team experience together can just change the turn of an entire map.
This is less than ideal, really, for A-MEI-ZON. This is not the way they want to be playing this. It's still very game of them. They're in here and ready to give this a go. I think, to be perfectly frank, even with the full complement, they would struggle against the sheer punching power that we've got here from Office 365. I mean, it is just shut down city. Roll, fan the hammer, roll, fan the hammer. Send them to spawn. Jahan on the cleanup. And it's swaps here for A-MEI-ZON and point control for Office.
Office, once again, comes out of the gate strong, this time with a Winston and a Mercy Ana combination. A lot of damage boost coming out, of course, and the dive can be helpful, the double bubble, as we like to call it. But they don't really have to get close. I think that's the thing. Like, as soon as that brawl really gets in their face, they may be in trouble, but it's not happening. They're making the moves, and you see that surrounding already happening. Winston one side, Tracer on the other. They're just in a great spot right now, and they don't have to worry.
This is Microsoft Office 365 fully kettling A-MEI-ZON here. They're going to let down the riot shields for now and allow them to approach the point, and Hypno Beam's going to go down here. But as soon as there is an advantage, out come the big guns from Office 365. Jahan works down Flexo. Big Easy takes down the shield, lands a bit of chin music on Reno, and we're now halfway done. And whilst they did touch the point there, they're failing to land blows.
No ultimates online. Hero swaps coming in late. A-MEI-ZON will probably get the Coalescence online, but by the time that happens, this point's going to be at, about 70%. And they're just going for the aggressive Graviton. It's huge.
Oh my gosh, Jahan with the pulse bomb. You can feel the comms in the air that coordinated that, because Senior Cheese was just happy to lob that in. Knew Jahan could close the distance, and that was mean, frankly.
And to think, Phil, we almost missed this because of a no-show of a player, but we get to enjoy this. All these beautiful plays. There's still 4 ultimates online, 85% and counting. This is the last fight, potentially, of this first map. And
nice stuff.
It's looking great.
There's the Primal. Sean's already found one, though. Catalyst is down, but now no Ana for either team. It's a 1-player, it's a 2-player advantage now for Office 365. No scope. And Sean is done and dusted. Flexo looking decidedly rigid. Overtime ticking down. And one very quick round of Lee Jung on the board for Office 365. No scope.
I was barely able to breathe in and out, and the map was over, Phil. That was an insanely quick one.
Some crazy lung capacity.
It's almost not worth breaking anything down here because of the sheer dominance that was displayed. But you can just clearly see the coordination that comes out from a team like 365 No Scope that has been together for longer, that it just has a general little bit of a higher level potentially coming out as well. And you can see how coordinated they are, like how much they have a plan for everything. They change up comps rather drastically, comp styles as well throughout those 2 points, and both of them were executed with, I'm not going to say to perfection, but definitely clean enough to get this dominant of a victory.
Looking very practiced, and of course, this is the team that finished first place in the previous season of the CEA Overwatch tournament. So we shouldn't be surprised that they are one of the more dynamic teams in the tournament. Obviously, their big rivals last season were actually the Amazon A-Team, Amazon Fire Force.
Yeah.
And you sort of touched on this before. This is not the Amazon A-Team, and this is no shade on A-MEI-ZON. It's just literal fact.
No.
You know, they had enough players to make an additional team. Fire Force are still there, looking very, very strong. A-MEI-ZON, they're newly formed. They just need a little more time in the oven to really start to get this up to temperature, properly cooked, baked, and ready for this tournament. And this tournament is probably going to be a little bit of a baptism of fire for them, but it will give them a lot of points that they can learn from. Still, at least 2 maps left to go. Time for A-MEI-ZON to surprise us, and we have our next map locked in. We're going to be going to Route 66.
Yeah, and when we talk, of course, when we talk about A-MEI-ZON, like again, we do need to keep reminding you guys. Like, I don't want to keep hammering on it, but they are missing
True.
at least
Very
one
true.
player. They have 7 players in their roster. They're currently fielding 5 of that roster, and it's mainly their backline that's really suffering today. So they are missing quite a few of those. That being said, they are still have quite a few points of light in their team. Sean should be a very practiced DPS. Is also playing in a Valorant team, if I'm not mistaken. And then we have a few others that are coming out that are definitely no strangers to the higher levels of Overwatch. Flexo, I think we kind of went nuts over the hooks that he was able to put out last week on the
Yes, we did.
Roadhog. So there are definitely a lot of things that they could do to pull this one back, but the problem is that A-MEI-ZON cannot rely on individual plays, because if Office 365 players match up that individual play level and then put the team level on top of it, then it becomes a very one-sided affair, like we just saw on Lijiang. We did see it get a bit closer in the last series, where it was a relatively convincing win as well from Killer T Cells coming out. But then in especially on Havana, but even a little bit on Lijiang Tower here and there was some pushback coming out, and A-MEI-ZON can still show that to us. We go to Route 66 indeed, and Route 66, at least in my experience, a fairly decent Roadhog map.
Absolutely. Whilst it's not his home map, he at least looks sort of thematically correct for it. He's got that,
Yeah, right.
dusty road warrior look to him. So it's A, thematically quite good, and B, there are a lot of angles you can play around to get sneaky hooks in.
Yeah.
It's whether or not the squishy targets on the side of Office 365 no scope uh, have the wherewithal to play in such a way that they're not at risk from those hooks. It does say on the team sheet for
It's
Flexer that
that
he's
way, yeah.
willing to flex to other things. So if he can't find those, then we should at least see some other options coming out from him.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with a name like Flexo, you would expect that to be the case, but we'll see if that actually becomes a reality in this map or this series as a whole. As we go into Route 66, and I'm not gonna lie, Phil, I'm not really a fan of this Cave of Mystery idea. That would not be something I would visit.
No, well, unfortunately, you can't get around that if you want to play this map. Well, I suppose you can
Hmm.
if you never get to point B defense, then you never get to see the Cave of Mystery. But I think
Maybe.
it's just, isn't it like an alien crash site? Isn't that what's in there?
I mean, that's what they
Observers
think.
going in to give us a look. Let's have
Observers
a look.
going in. Well, I mean, they have the alien shop, like the alien reproduction
There we
put in
go.
there, and they say
Yeah.
that aliens have like crashed there because
Well,
it's
there we go.
the thing,
I
but
don't think
it's
I've
like
ever.
behind the movie. So they always talk about, like, is it actually an alien digging site, or did someone like artificially place those fossils in there? It's one of those. It's a little bit of a nod at the American and maybe even global conspiracy culture. Like, have aliens landed in the Nevada desert and everything? That's the. It's a nice nod of the developers to do
Oh
that,
yeah, completely.
and I don't think we've gotten confirmed whether it's fake or not, but I'm pretty sure that's the idea behind it.
Like so goes fishing, and Biggie Z able to just turn the corner in time. Nice wall from J-Han, secures the kill with Sanitizer down, but it's traded back. J-Han himself taken out of the fight. Ooh, incredibly traded. It's 2 for 2 so far. Sean and Flex are between them, finding a bit of damage here and there. Phosphor looking to make a rotation and get the drop on somebody, but at 90 HP, it's going to be a little bit tricky to do that reliably. Down to 2 HP, only just with the help of the Wraith Walk. Back to the cart, and still under a tremendous amount of pressure. Eventually, the splash from the Zarya right click takes him out of the fight. Hook and Fire Strike both down for now. Means we can see our tanks for Office take a little bit of space. And they're doing a great job here of playing the low ground corner and the high ground angles.
This is a pretty good position that they're in, and they already can take down Phosphor almost, but don't actually quite get that flashbang follow-up, and Reno takes down Yomi instead.
It's going to be Reno down as well. There's no res available. Flexo starting to find a little bit of momentum behind him. We'll find that they can take J-Han out of the fight, but what is left here of Officer 265 is still very dangerous. Sean dies in the middle of the high noon. Biggie Z holds on to theirs, and the payload stalls out.
It did feel like a bit of a Hail Mary or like a save the president type of transcendence there from Catalyst, making sure that the team does actually wins that fight. It was really more confirmed rather than a counter to anything. So we'll see if that comes back to bite them in the behind. Because the Transcendence is a very powerful ultimate, and you kind of want to have that for certain situations.
So these walls from Jahan have been very irritating to play against. We'll see Senior Cheese actually get hooked down, run out of bubble, and then eventually taken out of it. Hyden finds one. Sean is down. Jahan's able to find two here. Flexo throws in the whole hog and will find a pick onto Yomi. Big EZ is now playing in the enemy backline, and that is 2 kills for Flexo. And Big EZ is in some real trouble there, but a beautiful double tap with the shot. There's the hook, and Big EZ down. Flexo coming in big here for A-MEI-ZON.
Flexo, the hero of the fight, definitely came out on top of that one. And the tanks have been doing well. Reno and Flexo, both of them. They've got a Shatter still ready. Have to be a bit careful about that Graviton, though, because they don't have a great tool against it. Where's the follow-up?
Okay, we're going for the Snow Globe. It's a little bit slow out, but it does eventually freeze up Reno, so Phosphor down as well. Coalescence out from MSFT. Does a lot to allow them to get their way out of trouble, but Catalyst will find the pick. A lot of damage out from Catalyst ensures that they have this ultimate ready for this next fight, and we are 1 minute left on the clock here on the defense for Office.
Yeah, for sure. Office 365 no scope just setting up a very strong hold right now. They have their support ultimates, not much else. But there isn't a whole lot available. There will have, I mean, they have 4 ultimates, but they're not really those big playmaking ultimates a lot of the time. They just kind of happen, especially when you have to play against this high ground hold and they can just shoot you from range.
That's so unfortunate. It just felt like right-click spam from Senior Cheese finding a huge amount of value. Phosphor's going to go down. We get the shatter committed by Reno, but there's nobody there to follow up, and he dies frozen whilst trying to find some sort of follow-up damage. That just comes off. Sanitizer gets the sound barrier online and tags onto point to keep the overtime going. And Yomi goes Battle Mercy, gets a tag onto Sanitizer and a little bit of kill credit. Big EZ with the high ground, looking for the chase, but it's gonna be Jahan that finds the kill. And that's as far as the payload goes, meaning that Office 365 no scope do not have far to push the payload at all to put point number 2 on the board.
They were almost on a roll, Phil. They almost had something going for them with that beautiful fight finish from Flexo, but it does seem like there's just A-MEI-ZON is losing too many players, and it's not able to win a fight cleanly or an engagement cleanly. Every time they get a pick, it gets traded. Every time they start to get into a position of maybe tilting one, they do a good job of winning like half of the fight, and the other half they lose. It's very chaotic and dirty, as we call it, a very messy way of winning fights. I would like to see them be able to get that organized, but again, it's so understandable when you come into it with a with a substitute, and when you play against a team like 365 no scope, that it's very hard to accomplish that without just being exactly on the same level or higher than them. I mean, same thing kind of goes for 365 no scope, though. They are losing players, even though they're winning fights. So there are opportunities, but it just overall turns into this mess that they still have control over, and they don't mind it, I feel like.
I think they look like they're thriving in the chaos. Oh, just to add some drama to proceedings, we'll get a slight pause here, and it looks like somebody from A-MEI-ZON has DC'd. I believe we've lost Sanitizer.
Oh.
No. To be honest,
No.
of all the people currently on the field, I think probably the one that you would be most okay with losing, because he'll be back that little bit quicker.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a pause on disconnect happening right there. We'll see if that will actually make a difference in the longer run. It'll be 5 seconds to get back to the fight. I think it was a Baptiste that was coming out, so
Oh, I thought he was
not
on
the
the Lucio.
fastest.
Oh, okay, that's
I
my
mean, it was
bad.
a Lucio in the last round, but I think it was a Baptiste this time around. We'll see. Maybe they'll go Lucio now to get back to the rest of the team quickly. That's very possible, but it takes you roughly like 10-ish seconds to really get into position here, so shouldn't be that big of a deal since the attackers won't be in your face straight away. That being said, Big EZ now on the Widowmaker. See if they can get some shots of those and
Well,
make sure to click some heads.
Yeah, it's certainly a pick that we've seen from Big Z. The performance on
Sure.
Kings Row, I think, stands out in particular to me from last season. But before we can see how that's going to go for Big Z and the rest of Office 365 No Scope, we're just going to
Yeah.
throw to a quick break while we wait to get our missing player back in the lobby, and we'll be back with you as soon as we can. Okay, we've done some hunting. We've consulted every smart device we have, and we have finally tracked down Sanitizer. So expect them back in the fight. And you're quite right, it was Sanitizer on the Baptiste. So it's going to be a very early 5v6 if we see Office start to take some space. And it's going to be a high ground hold on Big O's here for A-MEI-ZON, which I think is risky, Classy.
It's risky to a degree that they will only have one fight to win or lose every single time. But then again, I don't know if they're really that concerned with that situation. They are playing with a composition that really likes high ground. So they should get more leverage out of it, and otherwise they might have had to be on different heroes. Sean, under a bit of pressure, actually gets taken out by Hypno Beam. That's not a great start.
Nah, it's a pretty rough start. We'll see the rest come through. Beautiful high ground shield here from Hypno Beam, actually. Allows for Senior Cheese to get a little more damage in up on the high ground, but they have the Zarya momentarily up on the high ground, drops down to keep it going. Big Z finds a pick onto Reno, and A-MEI-ZON, after a short break and regaining Sanitizer, summarily knocked off the point, and the golden box of victory is achieved in just a little over a minute there for Office 365 No Scope.
I think we can start looking into this a little bit more into just which team is better. I just have a feeling that A-MEI-ZON it's just like not their day today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I do feel like they're a better team than what they're showing here today. Outside of missing one player, it just seems there's more going on. There's more off, and maybe we'll get to talk to them about that after the series is over.
Maybe.
But at this moment in time, all we can do is speculate. Does mean we're potentially only one map away from ending the series. And to be fair, the way it's been going so far, I kind of expect that. Flexo does get the 11 upvotes after the game. That's great. Probably didn't vote for themselves, and that's about it. But
it's a consolation prize,
is
that number. One, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, it's really unfortunate. You would have liked to have seen this be a more even spread, and we were talking to the TO before the match started, and the assessment was that this is between two teams at the higher end of the bracket, and for all the reasons we've said here, A-MEI-ZON just haven't been able to bring their A game today, and unless we get one of those missing players to turn up very soon and be the difference maker, this is probably as far as A-MEI-ZON is going to go. And it's sad because they were such a fun team to watch last week, such a fun team to talk to afterwards as well. I would have liked to have seen a little more from them here today.
I would have liked to heard a little bit more of them. I might not even get to today. We'll see. It's it's going to be weird one of these. Well, so A-MEI-ZON has to pick a hybrid map now, and I already see in the game chat, I see it happening that are we going to go to the map that the production doesn't like? Are we going to go to the map that they really like casting?
It's. I will clarify. It's not that we don't like it. It's just that we're sick of seeing it.
It's
different.
It's one of those things where we understand why it's a great map, and we disagree. It's just a situation where if you have to eat the same thing every day, or if you have to hear the same song all day, it kind of gets a little bit old at times.
A little bit.
It's okay. We are going to see Eichenwald again, which it almost seems like Eichenwald's the map of this season, Phil. We haven't really gotten a lot of Kings Row lately.
We'll just do
great.
one hybrid map per season.
I know, right? We just switch it up that way. But
just
in
team chat at the minute.
Chat.
We're getting in chat. I've never seen this map before. What?
Yeah, is that a new map in the game? Yeah. No, it's Eichenwald. It's actually, it came out in 2017. You can't believe it. Was it 2016 already? It was at Gamescom. I just don't remember it was 2016 or 17.
It was the first DLC map, wasn't it?
It was the first map that came out, yeah, but I think it must have been 2017, because in 2016 was still too early for that to happen. But then again, it might just be me being used to low content low content things. No, it was 2016. Definitely. No. I'm not saying it. No, 2016 seems to have been the situation where it came out.
It's always my favorite part of a broadcast is where the casters turn to consult Google for something. Makes for really good content.
Yeah.
I mean, I did the same thing. You were just quicker with it than I was.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of these situations where, because we've been with this game for so long, Phil, we keep forgetting how long the game's been out, and then we keep messing up with dates. Like, if someone asked me, so when was dive meta? I was like, well, which dive meta do you mean, first of all? And then, was that still 2016? And when did goats come around? And when did we have the triple tank? Like, those were all really different things that happened in a very short time span. Like, the first 3 big metas was all within a year, almost. It was very quick. And we're just not used to that anymore, because we've had very metas for ages, because the game knowledge has just gone up. That being said, we can talk about history all we want, but we also have present and future to talk about, because, going back to Eichenwald, we've seen the map earlier today. It did not get past point A.
Nope.
Maybe we'll get to see it more, but that does mean that A-MEI-ZON has to do something they have been able to do before. They have to capture an objective.
That's right. They need at least that one objective if we want to see some of the, I want to call it Streets phase, but I think maybe Courtyard phase here is more appropriate for this particular bit of Eichenwald. And we're going to be starting with Office 365 on the defense. And a little more Orisa from Hypnobeam here.
Hypnobeam on the Orisa. Well, there were some good halts coming out, and I think from both teams, Reno and Hypnobeam both had good halts coming out. It's just that, what can the rest of the team do to follow up? And what does the other team do to defend against it? And so far, the follow-up has been decent from both teams. Just the defense against it, particularly from 365 no-scope, has just been really good. So even if you get that successful halt off, if you get that potential hook combination, it's a beautiful puppy. It's a bit hidden in the wall.
Well, that's the thing that was making me say, oh my god, it's a ghost puppy.
It's a ghost puppy. I mean, that would be probably a lot of people's dreams, where you can touch the puppy when you want to, but it can also go through walls when it wants to.
I feel like we're slowly losing our minds here. So let's
maybe. That means exactly. Gonna seeing an Echo come out, and Sean is a good Echo player. We know that from them. They already get that first elimination. Yeah,
that's a trade, and Rez is going to come through. No such luxury available here for A-MEI-ZON, but shows what Sean can do when given free range. Phosphor playing very, very confidently here, playing on the low ground, just sniping up at Big EZ, who will have the Mercy at their beck and call here. So this is going to be a tough nut to crack, I think.
It's been a tough nut to crack for a lot of teams, regardless. It happens to everybody. Sometimes there's just that choke point that you don't know how to crack. Whether it's the composition, whether it's you not hitting your shots, whether it's anything like that, you need to find a way to either crack the safe or find the right combination to, well, just open it smoothly. Phosphor's trying to find that angle on Biggie.
Certainly got to do more than just jimmy the handle and hope for the best. Big EZ keeps getting knocked off this high ground, but so quick to get back up again and continue causing trouble. J-Ham gets a fire strike to the face there, and Phosphor finds a pick, but it is immediately counterpicked and then some. Senior Cheese now in trouble and streaming to their defense. Catalyst with the Transcendence keeps them alive, helps them get out of the fight. Sean taken down to a sliver of HP by the excellent tracking of Senior Cheese. One last little bit of chin music to round it out, and nothing on the board yet for A-MEI-ZON.
Yeah, A-MEI-ZON is not getting through, and you can see it. Like, it's those tiny little openings where Senior Cheese can just beam down Sanitizer, like, because they're just not behind the Reinhardt shield, and the more glaring things where you see Catalyst just say, fine, I'll just use the Transcendence because we don't need it for anything else anyways.
Oh, it's a Grab Dragon. Tasty. Haven't seen one of those in a little while. Only one kill out of the Grab Dragon combo itself, but enough to win out the team fight here. Sean is down. No stagger for Reno is maybe the only consolation prize on that one. Still, ults now online for A-MEI-ZON. This has to be where it works, I think, when they've got the most ults on their side.
You have to imagine that this would be the moment. They have the infra side to properly plan their route and their approach and make sure they get the right angle. They need to get Biggie early, but nope, gets the arrow in the face. Phosphor not happy, and also has no mercy to rest them up. They're going to use the trance early to get through. The Blizzard blocks them potentially off.
Well, might have split the team in half here, but that's 2 picks already, including Yomi. Shadow comes through. Big EZ still alive, not close enough to the Dragon Strike to really do anything. A big hook from Senior Cheese into the maw of A-MEI-ZON. And there's the whole hog. And it's cost them 5 ults here. Sean is on the hunt, having picked up the duplicate onto the Zenyatta, and an orthodox pick will allow them to get that Transcendence online. No chance to use it, and we're going to get to see some of the Castle Courtyard phase of Eichenwald.
They're getting past point A. They have already leveled up since the last 2 maps. 3 minutes to potentially get through that castle gate and burst it open, make sure they can get further and potentially recover the armor of the Baldi. But Sean is going to find a bullet first, so they have to go back and spawn and try again later. Hypno Beam switching over to the Wrecking Ball is a bit curious, but it gets value already, so why not? And it's a very open space, so the Wrecking Ball should get a lot done.
I feel like the swap there was to try and get in contest. Hey, what a hook from Flexo! In the meantime, though, Hypno Beam's already found another, just running over fools left and right here on the Wrecking Ball. Too quick to be pinned down.
Well, it's either a sleep dart or a hook. There's not much else that can stop Hypno Beam other than a lot of damage at one time. And it's not looking like that's happening. They're constantly looking behind themselves, and at this point they need to figure out, okay, do we focus the Wrecking Ball, which they can't do because he's too far away, or do we go for the rest of the team and just hope that we can survive his barrage coming in? They can. Flexo with a hook.
And look, again, you can just tell the communication on the side of Office there, as they combo that beautifully. Cheese finds one. Nothing out of the high noon from Big EZ, but is very quick to find that. Hypno Beam just able to get that adaptive shield online. But now on the hunt, knows that they can't really retreat to the team for heals because the healing is too slow from the healing combo, so just playing around health packs for now.
That's the Wrecking Ball special. Never tell your team where you are, because you don't have to, because you have health packs. That's how you live, son. I'll see another, and no, it's just an assassination attempt on A-MEI-Z. The pile driver into the Tracer, 1 clip. EZ takes down Sanitizer. Reno just falls, and what went okay on point A is just falling apart. This high ground defense, we saw Naru 66 and Phil, it's just continuing because this high ground is even worse. This is not a medium high ground. This is a high ground. It takes a long time to fall down and also a long time to get up there.
there was at least some kart progress gained in that they've got it around this second corner. Unfortunately, you just actually have put yourself in a position here where there is even more surrounding high ground and different layers of high ground, and they're going to find themselves trapped here by that minefield. We get a little bit of a mine sweep coming through from Sanitizer, but Big EZ on the high ground, if you don't know, now you know, survives the hook, fans the hammer, Flexo goes down, and we're down into the final 30 seconds of the offensive push here from A-MEI-ZON.
Very good bubbles from Senor Cheese as well. Those hook targets have rarely not been bubbled. And, I mean, it's what you, I would say it's what you expect from your Zarya, but if you know how good Flexo is on the Roadhog, it makes sense that Senor Cheese saves the hook, the bubble just for that. Doesn't really need it for much else. There's Attack Visor. Will it find some value? So far, no, but might get at least one.
Well, I guess one Catalyst is down. Looks like a whip on a Graviton Surge there from Senor Cheese. Big Easy is unsure, and the progress has been made on the payload. J-Hand's about to close in on the pulse bomb spots that there is no more take a breather for the Roadhog. Finds the stick. Reno's going to go down. Deadeye gets Phosphor. Well played indeed from Big EZ, and that's as far as the payload goes.
Payload halts. Round switches, and, well, Microsoft Office 365 no-scope has a very clear win condition. Cap point A and push the payload further than 79.5 meters. Not an insurmountable task as we've seen them play so far, and I'm wondering what they'll go for on attack. I'm mostly wondering what A-MEI-ZON will try and do on defense. Are we going to see a Bastion? Are we going to see a Junkrat? Are we going to see some more rigid double barrier? What are we going to get? I'm assuming Flexo will go back to the Roadhog, but he doesn't have to. We know he can be more flexible than that. And I mean, our answers are going to come soon. It looks like it's going to be, well, not a huge change up. Phosphor on the Ashe, Sean on the Mei. Flexo and Reno still on the Reinhardt and the Roadhog. And Sanitizer, Maze, Zenyatta, Mercy. Not a huge amount of healing, but then again, both Sean and Flexo have some personal sustainability. So as long as the damage boost is on the Ashe and there's a Discord orb out there, a lot of damage can be done in a short amount of time. And it could be hard to get through.
I think if I was going to make one change to A-MEI-ZON's competition, it would be to swap Sean and Maze. Keep them on the same heroes, but move them around. Purely because I want to be able to utter the phrase, and Maze's Mei was amazing. But I don't think I'm going to get that opportunity. We are locked into support and DPS.
It kind of sounds like a you problem rather than an A-MEI-ZON problem, right?
Oh, it 100% is.
Yeah. Imagine a team selecting their heroes based on their names so the casters have more fun. That would be a weird situation. Hypno Beam does go down early, but so does Phosphor Phil. This is not a done and dusted fight just yet, because they both keep losing and finding picks.
This is scrappy to say the least, Classy. Reno's still here, but Senor Cheese with a lot of charge will find the pick. Reno's going to go down. Flexo's in a position here to buy a little bit more time. Lands the hook. Senor Cheese is going to survive. I think he actually landed that hook with nothing left in the chamber. Senor Cheese casually bounces Phosphor into the air and then gets them with the tracking on the primary fire. Has bought some time for the rest of A-MEI-ZON to come back into the fight here, but it seems like Office 365 no scoop are too heavily ensconced here. They can just fight off the waves of enemy like it's a tower defense game, and that's very quickly on to point number 2. But the fight is not actually done yet. They are desperately looking for these staggers. They want this over and done with ASAP.
Speaking of tower defense games, this really seems like one of the maps where that happens most. You get into that situation, especially on the second point. You stand on the high ground and keep on shooting the things that are trying to push that card below you, like in a different lane. It really feels very separated like that. Reno's going super aggressive here. It's still on the defense, of course, trying to get back to the unit on the bridge. But this is a very, very tricky situation because you can only really lose, maybe you can't even lose the one fight. I think they'll just push the payload there straight away. Senor Cheese under fire, solo Graviton, and then you just jump into it as Reno. Phil, this looks to be over.
Yeah, it is, and you can't help but feel like the Graviton Surge there, the solo grab, one of the most expensive, powerful, important ults in the game, just used to give Sean some minor inconvenience and get the kill, was BM. And that's it. Office 365 no scope with a very, very quick cap time here. Flexo not quite able to tag on to the payload. Means that we are done and dusted on the map, on the match, on the series. Quick play of the game from Big EZ. Tracking over the wall. Didn't get the kill credit on that one. Tagged in, finds Phosphor. Looking for the Mercy. Big EZ, if you don't know, now you know. That is going to be it. That's the end of today's game, and that was just so convincing from Office.
Yeah, I think convincing is almost it almost felt like just unfair at some points in time.
Group stages, man.
Yeah, I think it's like a combination of a lot of things that just didn't have it go A-MEI-ZON's way today. I'm because I think we both know, and I think everyone at home also, and even both these teams know that A-MEI-ZON is definitely better than they show today. It just is like all those stars that can usually align, they were very far apart. Like they were mathematically as far as they could. The geometry wasn't there. And well, sometimes that's just the way it is. The position of the moon wasn't in their favor today. The tides were too high. I don't know. There's just a lot of bad luck coming out of them. But doesn't mean that it's not a win in the books regardless. So Office 365 no scope get another one on the board, and they move on further in the group stage, making sure that they secure another playoff spot to get maybe another title this season.
Yeah, you've got to think this is the team that we're looking at to retain the title here.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is going to depend on how much some of their closest competitors have leveled up rather than, I don't know, luck or stagnation for
Yeah.
Office 365. So we're going to be looking really at the other Amazon team and how they've developed and changed in the off season to really turn that around for us in the group stages, in the playoff stages even. But Classy, as per usual, that's the end of this particular match, which means there's only one thing left to do, which is, of course, to move to the interview portion of the show. So we're going to throw it to a quick break whilst we move channels and find people to bring into them, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Welcome back, everybody. Here we are with the final portion of today's show. And to interview today, we have Catalyst from Microsoft Office 365 No Scope. Catalyst, welcome to the broadcast. That was a fairly convincing win. How do you feel about it?
Thanks for having me, first of all. I'm feeling pretty on top of the world, honestly, right now. This was, I think, our first game that's going to be broadcasted. And this is the first time that I joined the Microsoft group. So it's my first time kind of rolling out with the team. So I feel really good. I'm glad that I was able to perform well. And I'm glad that we were able to pull out the win. So yeah, my heart's racing a bit. Feeling pretty happy right now.
Glad to hear it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, one like the main question I had for you specifically was there were a lot of transcendences that I think if I was casting a closer game or looking at a game that was really like hard fought would probably not have happened at those situations. I'm guessing you kind of didn't feel that much pressure today, did you?
Ooh, so that's interesting. Yeah. So I think when it comes to these kinds of games, there's a feel for like the overall pacing. I think when support players are playing, it's really important to understand uh, when those ultimates need to be used, and if you can use something more proactively to generate more pressure on the enemy team, then it's good to do so. So I definitely think if I'm thinking about the same thing that you guys are thinking about, there was a moment maybe on 66 where I tranced just to save cheese, I think. And I don't regret that decision. I think it was good, and I think that contributed to holding the first point. Ordinarily, I don't think I would have done so if I didn't have like the faith that we would be able to regroup and hold first. So I think at that moment, the way like that the game was flowing, I felt good that we would be able to hold that, and that's why I tranced there. I don't know if I tranced too aggressively in other cases. Maybe you guys could remind me if there's something else.
I think you tranced in a similar way.
Walls,
I think probably also to save Senior Cheese on Eichenwald first. Which, as a Zarya player, I went, yes, every time I want my Zen to trance just to save me. So I have no comments. No criticism.
Yeah. So Zarya, when your Zarya is high energy and just rolling them over, and you want to keep your Zarya up in the fight as much as possible so that he can farm his grab. And I was feeling good. I know that our Mercy is taking good care of our DPS, and Mercy Zen is a kind of a low healing comp a little bit. I don't want to like go through the whole analysis of the comp, but to me, if they're gonna let me get away with it, and if I'm confident that I can farm it quickly enough, then I'm more than happy to use trance to win a fight. Because if I can be like halfway up to another trance by the time the next fight starts, by the time the poke ends, which it was happening, I think, then I'm more than happy to use trance on cooldown. So yeah.
So that was a very measured and intelligent response that suggests to me you've got a fair amount of experience of this kind of coordinated play. Is that fair to say? Have you played for in other team environments before?
No, I've actually. This is my first scrim environment at all.
Wow.
And in fact, I don't even play too much ranked in Overwatch. I like watching Overwatch League a lot.
Okay.
And I think my favorite part of Overwatch is like the tactical aspect of it. So I always enjoyed as a spectator, like the decisions that teams made, like what they were trying to do, like on the whole as a team. That's probably why I joined Microsoft here, because you get to first of all, it's cool because it's like the company that I work for. And then it's also cool because it's like a charity that we can fight for, which is amazing. And then third of all, you get to meet cool people and also work in a team environment, which is like just so many cool things happening at once there. So no, I don't actually have too much actual team experience, but in ranked, I don't know if other Overwatch watchers can relate to this. In ranked, a lot of times, comms are dead silent, no one's saying anything. So I talk a lot when I play comp, and that typically helps. So that maybe made this a little bit more smooth.
Yeah, well, thank you. It was wonderful to get that insight.
Awesome.
Yeah, amazing. It's always good to hear more of that. Of course, this wasn't the game that was challenging you to the highest level. You said you were like your first time you were broadcasted with this unit.
Mhm.
How's the transition like been coming into this with everybody?
Okay, let me think about it. That's a bit of a general question. Let's see how I want to tackle that. So yeah, I think the most important thing is that for me, it's kind of learning to like make sure that I understand like what my teammates are trying to do, um, and like understanding and taking into account like feedback from my teammates and my coach. Um, there's a lot of infrastructure there that's really cool that needs to be leveraged properly. Whereas in a ranked game, it's kind of like six randoms trying to string together some fairly basic coordinated plays. In a team environment, it's you can like understand like the idiosyncrasies of your teammates since you're going to be playing with them over and over again, and you can adjust your own play style accordingly to fit the team. So a little bit of that is understanding that my style is like super aggro, and kind of like greedy with the ultimate usage, as you guys probably saw a little bit of today. And I know that as the team like continues to face more and more challenging opponents, this could potentially be something that I need to work on. But by the time that we face better teams and higher level teams, I'll have worked on this with my team because they've been helping me give this feedback. So definitely like getting used to like being ready to scrim, having like a dedicated time, and understanding like everything about the teammates and trying to do your very best for them. It's all new and it's all fresh and it's really, really fun.
Well, Catalyst, it's
Good to
actually
hear.
been really, really cool to have you here to talk to. You sound like you've got a really good head for the game and a lot of enthusiasm for it. So thank you for bringing that to the interview. We're going to let you go and rejoin your team and celebrate your first on-air victory.
Okay.
Before we let you go, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah. Actually, one of my teammates, Biggie Z, has been starting he started his own Discord server, I think, for Pugs, Overwatch Pugs, and it's super friendly. We have like our Microsoft team plays after our match on Saturday. And I actually pulled in a few of my friends as well that are not involved with Microsoft, that I play Overwatch with. I know some of my teammates have pulled their friends in, and the idea is to get a bunch of like friendly games to kind of simulate that sort of that team environment without like the big pressure. So it's kind of like sort of like playing in a more competitive environment, but at the same time, it's still like very relaxing and fun and casual because everyone. If I don't have a Discord link on hand right away. Is there anywhere that I could post that so that you guys could get
I
it
would
later?
suggest that's probably best off being put somewhere in the CEA Discord. I'm afraid I'm not the guy to talk to about that
Okay.
one, but there'll be somewhere in there you can share that. I'm certain.
Okay. Awesome. And yeah, so definitely a shout out there. Obviously, a shout out to my company Microsoft for linking me up with these teammates and giving me this opportunity to represent the org, and as well as the charity. I know we didn't get a chance to talk too much about
Oh
it,
yeah.
Well,
but from what I've heard from
tell us
my
now. Tell us now.
tell us
so
now.
so when I joined this team, I didn't actually know that it was we were going for a charity, and I only found out like a little bit after we started scrimming. And my teammate Hypno tells me that it's a game changer charity, and the main focus is similar to what we're going for now, which is in these troubled times with COVID and with like if you're sick with a chronic illness, a lot of kids in hospitals are kind of stuck with nothing to do, and they kind of feel trapped a little bit. And the charity is meant to kind of bring the technology and enable these kids to actually have some fun and bring some light to their lives and stuff. And for me, after finding out about that, that's like exactly the kind of thing that really motivates me to perform my best. Hopefully Hypno didn't just completely schmoze me and tell me like a random charity that we're not
No,
actually going
you
for,
got that. You got that
taking
right.
advantage
You
of the
got that.
newbie. Yeah, but if that's if from what I've read about it, this is something that the world, I feel like, could really use. The laughter and smiles of children is something that should really be protected and enabled as much as possible. So I'm glad to be able to help out in any way whatsoever there.
Very cool. Well, Catalyst, one more time, thank you very much for joining us. For everybody else watching, I'm afraid that is the end of the broadcast. We'll be back next week with more CEA Overwatch action. Classy, before we go, anything you'd like to say to round out the broadcast?
I just like to say I hope that we get more of these quick games. No, it's been like again.
Oh man.
I think we're well we're in a situation now. Like we keep saying, right? Group stage, the matchups aren't always as even. But it's still cool to see how teams deal with adversity and deal with everything like that. So I don't really mind what type of games we get as long as we get more Overwatch, Phil.
Everybody else, thank you once again for joining us, and we will catch you next week for more CEA Overwatch.